Hello, my name is Nikas. I'm an alcoholic. Hey, I wanted to talk for a sec, well, a little more than a second, about sex and sobriety, especially early sobriety. Um, for myself, I had the experience of going to many, many meetings and was told all sorts of things about not having sex for 30, 60, 90, 6 months. Some people were told for a year. Um, and that was kind of like the party line that I was hearing was like you had to abstain from saying you just kind of my monster was meth, and so meth and gay sex is very intertwined. And but when I finally decided to get sober, I went into straight AA, and I just in San Francisco at the time, I just didn't hear the very clear message of what Alcoholics Anonymous really was. Um, so I went and found myself a straight sponsor. And funny enough, when it came to sex, he just straight up said, so his name was Ajab, by the way, little East Indian guy, crazy little guy. And he's just to say, so are you horny yet? And I was at the time, my last run, I think it was up for 17 days. And it was, I just needed a nap and a sandwich. I didn't need sex. And I said, no, I'm not right now. He said, okay, well, here's the deal. You're going to get horny real quick. And this is what I need you to do. And I listened. He says, the moment you get horny, I need you to go fuck your brains out sober. And I thought to myself, well, this is kind of odd. This is not what I had usually heard at gay meetings. I said, okay. And he says, so reality is, he says, I'll bet you had a lot of freaky tweaky sex. He says, you're gay, right? And I said, yeah, yeah. He says, I'll bet you had a lot of freaky tweaky sex out there. He says, yeah. I said, yeah. And he says, okay, so you're still going to have a lot of sex. And it's still going to be freaky. It's just not going to be tweaky. But here's the deal. You got to learn who you are sexually without the influence of drugs and alcohol. And the only way you can learn who you are is to actually do it. He says, you don't learn by not doing it. He says, but here's what I want you to do. First of all, I want you to pray. I want you to get on your knees before you get on your knees. Before anybody comes over to your house, before you go to anybody else's house, I want you to get on your knees and ask God to keep you safe, give you the strength and the courage to walk out of any situation that is not safe for you, for your sobriety. And he says, okay. He says, and I want you to pray that you and the guy you end up with have amazing orgasms. He's like, can you do that? And I said, yeah, I can do that. He's like, good, good. He says, how do you find sex anyway? Do you do online kind of stuff? And I said, yeah, yeah. He goes, okay, so you got to erase all those profiles. You just got to get rid of everything. All the pictures. Sorry, technical glitch there. Okay, so you got to get rid of all your pictures, all your profiles, and start new ones. We just start from the bottom up. Take new pictures so people don't identify you by your pictures online. It's all got to be fresh. He says, but here's what I need you to do. He says, when you're filling out those profiles, I want you to put your hands on the keyboard, and I want you to pray. And I want you to ask God to rewrite your profiles for you, because you don't know what you need, but God knows what you need. Okay? Can you do that? He had this funny way of saying, can you do that? And I said, yeah, I can do that. I can do that. I can. And so I did. I started my profiles, and one of my very first profiles said, newly sober off of meth, don't know if I'm a top or a bottom. Need kind, compassionate people to hand walk me through this experience. Please don't have any expectations. I have no idea what's going to happen. Thank you. And I will tell you what, absolute angels showed up in my life. And it became an exploration in sex, in what sober sex was going to be like. And I got to have all of the different experiences with a lot of different people. And, you know, so everybody knew I was sober off of meth. And so there were some people that would, you know, compassionately say, hey, do you mind if I smoke a little pot? Or, you know, and I was perfectly fine with that. That was not my, pot was not my thing. And I just had all these incredible exchanges with people who were willing to give me latitude to not know, to just be in a state of I don't know. So, one of the things that he said to me, he says, was, if you're going to relapse, he says, over sex, I want you to relapse before you have 30 days. Because there's nothing worse than collecting those little chips, collecting 30, 60, 90, 6 months, and then have to give them back because you relapsed over sex because you didn't figure it out. He says, so don't worry if you relapse. Just come back. We'll figure out what was missing, what went wrong, what part of the problem, where this is at here. So yeah, if that happens, just come back and we'll talk about it and we'll figure it out. And I said, okay, thank you. And I did not relapse over sex. Later on in life, I had relapsed, but it wasn't over sex. I had worked my sex thing out. I had worked my sober sex thing out. But I was amazed that somebody would have the actual faith to let you relapse over something because you were learning to get it right. There's a wonderful Buddhist-y little saying that says, sometimes you have to lose your balance to find your balance, right? I mean, it's not like you're learn how to ride a bike in one shot. You ride a little bit, you fall over. You ride a little bit, you fall over. And sooner or later, you figure it out. And so he was completely in faith and willing to allow me to get it wrong so that I could learn to get it right. Because in his opinion, the only way to get it right was going to be by doing it. And if for some reason I ended up in a relapse, don't worry about it. Just come back and we'll talk about it. And that was the other thing that I really learned, was that this was something you could talk about. This was something you could explore with another person honestly. And this guy was straight. You know, he also was a meth monster, so he knew what Freaky Tweaky looked like, but he was not gay. But I felt absolutely comfortable talking to him about, because, you know, human nature is we're all kind of the same when it comes to that particular drug. So yeah, that's what I kind of wanted to talk about, was just the idea that you can fare forth in faith and not in fear. And, you know, I have relapse in my story. It's not over sex, but I have it in my story. And one of the things, I'm going to make a separate video about this too, actually, but one of my things is, if somebody doesn't have relapse in their story, and you do, change sponsors. Get somebody who does, because that person's never going to understand you. Why? Because they don't understand relapse themselves. So just as a non-alcoholic is not really qualified to help an alcoholic get sober, somebody who has never relapsed, in my opinion, is unqualified to speak to the benefits of relapse. So this is not, do not take my words the wrong way. I am not giving anyone permission to go out from here and relapse. But if it has happened or is currently happening, and you're just having to kind of come into the concept of, oh, wow, okay, that happened, then investigate. What is to be learned? What is to be seen? It's like the hand of the divine is like literally taking your finger and putting it somewhere on the board of reality, showing you exactly what you were or were not doing, or what you needed to that you hadn't been doing. So it's an investigation into that. So that's all I got to say about some sex. And if you have a sex addiction, which is different than just having fear of sex, if you have a sex addiction, then you might need a program for that. But if your problem is you just don't know how to have it because you haven't, then it's probably that you need to just go have it, and you need to walk through the fear. Right? The only way to it is through it. It's how it goes. So my prayer is that you will find happy, joyous, free sex. A lot of it. That's what you want. Be well.